నమస్కారం. డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయ విద్యార్థులకు స్వాగతం.
Today we are here to learn about the management and its functions, wherein span of supervision is one of the major element or functions of management, and this course is chosen for second year BCom students of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, and the course is Business Organization and Management, for which the resource person is Dr. M. Anil Ramesh, Professor of Marketing and Chairman for Training and Consultancy Services, Shivashivan Institute of Management, Secunderabad. We are here to learn and discuss about the management functions, and friends, management is nothing but the people representing administration in a organization for which some goals and objectives are to be realized, for which the manager is able to coordinate and control the activities of the people working under him. And here what we are going to do is, span of supervision is one of the major functions which is representing organizing. So before learning about span of supervision, the basic functions of management is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. So the first function of any management in any organization is planning the future course of action. Planning representing the future course of action, what to do, where to do, who has to do and how should be done. So in accordance with the manager plan activities, people and to realize the organization or departmental goals. So next function of any management is organizing. So after planning and before proceeding to undertake the activities, manager tries to organize the things and activities and people suitable to undertake those activities. Under the function of organizing, span of supervision is one of the most important area where we have to give emphasis more. So in this context, Dr. Anil Ramesh will discuss about this topic, and next one is I would like to request him to talk about what is the meaning of span of supervision or control and what are the functions or activities under the span of supervision. Dr. Anil Ramesh.
Thank you, Dr. Power. You have opened up a very nice topic for discussion. As you just mentioned, any manager has to supervise. The main functions of a manager is to supervise his subordinates.
Right.
Span of control is the number of subordinates that a manager or a supervisor directly controls or is responsible for.
Right.
So it refers to the organization of relationships between the manager and a worker. For example, we have a manager. Under him, he might have 4 people, 8 people, 12
Right.
people, 16 people. So all the people directly working under the manager come under a span of control. So the number varies with the type of work and its complexity. So sometimes you can have 4 people, sometimes you can have 400 people.
And different management thinkers given different combination and permutation of number.
Correct.
Also say what you call Fayal gives 6 to 8.
Correct.
Or Burwig gives 3 to 6. So it depends on the thinker, and many administrative management thinkers given different notation for this. And
Correct.
before that, so how many types of span of control are available?
Correct. Management spans may be narrow or wide.
Right.
For example, narrow span means that there are many mid and top level managers who each supervise a small number of employees reporting to them.
Right.
Narrow span leads to a tall organizational structure because there is an inverse relationship between the span and the layers of hierarchy. So narrow span results in tall multi-layered organizational structures. It's a tall organization with lot of layers,
Right.
but in each layer a few number of employees. On the other side, we have a wide span, which means there are fewer managers of mid and top level, but each supervising a large number of employees.
Right.
Conversely, wide span results in a flat organizational structure with few layers. So narrow is tall, whereas wide is flat.
So we can say both the types of span of control has different advantages and disadvantages.
Definitely advantages.
So can you elaborate more about advantages and disadvantages of narrow span of control?
Sure. Narrow span specifically when it is contrasted or compared with wide span, has got some advantages and disadvantages which are easily identifiable. Advantages include, because of the narrow span, we have close relationship between the employees and the supervisor, because there is only few number of people involved with each other. There is a very close relationship. There can be a closer supervision of employee task. Rather, what happens in a flat organization is there are a lot of people and close supervision might not be possible, and then great superficial attention to employees by the managers, and possibility of more upward growth for employees, because it is a tall organization. There are possibilities of growth and promotions, and possibility of greater complexity of tasks for employees, because even complex tasks can be done because they can easily be trained and controlled. So, coming to the disadvantages, the disadvantages of a tall or a narrow
type of supervision
span of control is that overall costs are increased, because greater levels of management means greater operational costs. Communication will be less. Tall organizations with many layers of management means less efficient communication upward and less interest in communication downward. Feeling of remoteness, because there is a lot of chain between the top managers to the bottom managers, as there are a lot of levels, there is a lessening of employee morale and feeling of belongingness, and difficulties with motivation and morale. Lower skilled, less motivated employees need more supervision, and in a tall structure this is not possible. So, definitely there are some advantages and lots of disadvantages also.
So far we discussed about advantages and disadvantages of narrow span of control. So, can you give some elaboration over the advantages and disadvantages of wide span of control?
Okay. Like Dr. Pawar just has explained in the initial stage, there is a lot of now emphasis on wider spans of control, because there are few layers but the span is wide. So, what are the advantages when we take the wide span of control? This type of span of control becomes very, very important when the staff are empowered. So, the staff are very smart, they are very articulate, they are very knowledgeable, they can make their own decisions and they can carry out their own task without interference by managers. This leads to faster decision making. In the tall structure, the decision making becomes slow. In the wider, the faster decision making happens, more money is saved, less managers are required, so that wages are saved, less levels of communication for decision making to pass, which means communication will be faster and there will be less distortions. Best suited for high quality staff who can self manage themselves. Less competition, so there won't be any backbiting for promotions. In the tall structure, there are a lot of avenues of promotion, but at the same time a lot of backbiting would be there. That backbiting will not be less, because in a wider span very few promotional aspects are available. And finally, better for motivation, morale building, training and development. And coming to the disadvantages, Dr. Pawar, managers may make snap decisions as they are looking after too many employees, because on a wider span each manager may be responsible for 25-35 supervisors. So, in that haste maybe he will take some snap decisions. Manager's time will be at a premium, so he cannot allocate enough time for his subordinates. Managers themselves will have less time for planning. Subordinates, this is very important, subordinates may make decisions that they are not trained for, and there could also be a lot of dissatisfaction because there are less avenues for promotion. So, both spans have got advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, right. So, it depends on the organization and its size.
Correct.
So, then what are the determining factors of span of control or supervision?
Correct. That's
generally we consider.
Yeah. What are the factors? These are the following factors affecting a span of control. The geography. If the branches of the business are widely dispersed, which means they are away from each other, then the manager will find it difficult to supervise each of them. In these cases, the span of control should be smaller. Capacity of the workers themselves. If the workers are highly capable, need little supervision and can be left on their own. For example, this we usually call them as theory Y. Theory Y type of people need not be supervised much, as they are self motivated and take initiative at work. In such cases, span of control can be wider. Capability of the boss, very importantly, if the boss is experienced with good understanding of the tasks, good knowledge of the workers, and if he maintains good relationships with the workers, he would be able to supervise many more workers. Value add of the boss, this is also very important. A boss that is adding value by training and developing new skills in the workers will need a narrow span of control than one who is not adding value. And coming to the, let us take some companies only focused on performance management.
Right.
For example, selling. This is reverse to the capability of workers point above. If there is, let us take focus only on performance management, then wider spans are okay. Similarity of the task. If the tasks that the subordinates are performing are similar, then the span of control can be wider, as a manager can supervise them all at the same time, for example, BPOs. Volume of the other task. If the boss has other responsibilities such as membership of committees, involvement in other projects, liaising with stakeholders, the number of direct reporters would have to be smaller, which means a taller structure. Required administrative tasks. If the boss is required to have regular face-to-face meetings, complete appraisals and developmental plans, discuss remuneration benefits, write job descriptions and employment contracts, explain employment policy changes and other administrative tasks, then the span of control should be reduced. So like you have correctly said, it all depends on the company and the type of work and the complexity.
So is there any specific factors affecting both wide and narrow span of control?
There are. So what are the specific factors enabling wider span of control? Let us see. The simpler the task, the wider is the span. For example, just now we are talking about BPOs. BPOs don't need a tall structure, wider is okay. Then if the task is simple, then less is the need for supervision. The more diversified complex tasks usually need more supervision, and this point becomes very important in the 21st century. Efficient use of information technology. Readily available information technologies can obtain information to do the job as well as to receive directions easily from the supervisor. For example, Skype is there, and then we have video chats, we have WhatsApps. So a supervisor can talk to many people at the same time. So easily from directions easily from the supervisor, and this increases the span of control. This enables immediate and constant touch with the subordinates. The quality, skills and capabilities of the subordinates. If you can recruit quality employees having the necessary education, training and experience, they will be able to learn and do the assigned work and require less supervision and leads to wider span of control. So as what is happening is, as the employees are becoming more and more smarter, as they are getting more and more educated, the wider span is becoming more popular. Also sir, what has happened in the modern world is everything is at a premium. So bosses come at a very high salary. It is more advantageous to have subordinates who are better trained, so that one level of management can be eliminated. For example, if you take our own college, we don't have typists. So that entire chain of typists is taken off, and everybody is given a laptop, everybody is given lot of technological inputs and training, so that that level of secretarial assistance is completely taken off.
One way or other we can say technology enabling.
Technology enabling is both an advantage and disadvantage, because that level of people have lost jobs also. We're coming back to the specific factors. The skills and capabilities of the supervisor. More knowledgeable and skillful supervisors, along with the ability to clearly communicate the work, can get things done by many people. So these are go-getters, very charmful, very articulate, very communicative. So they are able to get work done from a lot of people. The quality of the department's training program, this is very important. Subordinates fully knowledgeable of the rules and regulations of the company and administrative procedures and know-how of doing the work need less supervision and more can be supervised. And finally sir, very important, the harmony of the workforce. If the workforce is always fighting, then it becomes taller. Then the company will think, okay, let us have as little people as possible in department. But on the other side, if there is harmony of the workforce, when the subordinates are like-minded and working together towards the same objectives, I think underline the word same objectives, in harmony, they would lead less supervision intervention.
After knowing these general as well as specific factors affecting effective span of supervision, so how can we relate or interrelate between the manufacturing sector, what is the appropriate or effective span of control with regard to manufacturing sector as well as service sector?
Correct. I think that's a very good question, Dr. Pawar. What happens is manufacturing traditionally
Right.
had a tall structure.
True.
Because what happens is the complexity of the work, complexity of task. So, but what we have to all realize is the world has become very, very competitive.
Right.
So, if you take one example, I'll give you one example. Usually, I think you've been correctly saying that wider structures work only in the information technology and IT departments because they're all technologically
Yes.
driven. I'll give you one example. Not necessary that this type of wider organizations will not work in a general manufacturing setup.
Right.
We'll take an example. Let us look at a company called WL Gore, an American manufacturing company.
Okay.
Gore is one of the most successful firms in the world.
Okay.
They have more than 10,000 employees, but surprisingly, Dr. Pawar, with only 3 levels in their organizational hierarchy. And see the hierarchy. There is one CEO elected democratically. He is not the owner or he is not having majority stakeholding. So, the CEO is at the first level. He has got a handful of functional heads at the second level. So, a handful, maybe 10 of them, and all the rest, please remember we had 10,000 of them. So, all the rest at the third level. All decision making is done through self-managing teams of 8 to 12 people.
Right.
And see the type of functions they are doing: hiring, pay, compensation, which packages to work on, everything, rather than relying on a command and control structure. What happens earlier was we always used to wait for somebody else to tell us. Now there is no longer that. It's something like a quality circle. You are responsible both for the production and solving the problem of quality also.
Yes.
Earlier what was happening, I was just producing and giving you the stuff and saying you are part of quality control,
Yes.
you do my dirty job. No, I am responsible for quality, checking the quality and detecting the quality problems and rectifying them. That's the advantage of smaller teams.
Okay.
Yes.
So, how span of supervision effectively managed or controlled in private sector as well as government sector?
Yeah, private sector usually, because they are always very bothered about the bottom line,
Right.
they usually have wider spans of control. For example, let us take a BPO. BPO technically in Hyderabad might have hardly 4 or 5 managers who are controlling almost 300-400 of them, because like you said, BPO is more or less non-technical job, very repetitive job, and they can easily be controlled by computers and maybe supervised by CCTV cameras. Like you correctly said, governmental still has got a tall organization. Governments are quite inflexible and many of them are tied down by rules and regulations. So they still believe in the tall organizations where there are a lot of layers and most probably from the top level to the bottom level, there could be 18 to 19 levels also.
Okay. Do their extremely flat structure work only for IT or IT enabled companies?
Not really, sir. Flat structures work for non-IT companies also. We have looked at WL Gore.
Okay.
And then lot of companies like Google, for example. I can give you one more example of a company called WordPress.
Okay.
WordPress is, if you take in the web and in the digital platforms, WordPress is very, very popular because 20% of the world's websites are on the WordPress platform, making it one of the most important internet companies. Yet Automatic, the firm behind WordPress, only employs a couple of hundred people. Even though 20% of all the websites in the world are managed by Automatic. All this couple of hundred people work on remote locations with highly autonomous flat management structure. There is another company called GitHub, is another highly successful firm with a similar structure. So what it means is, if the company has got a vision and if the objectives are shared, I think flat structures are possible. And in the future, companies are going to become more and more flatter and flatter.
Okay. When do extremely flat organization works?
Okay, what are the conditions under which extremely flat organizations work? That's a very valid question. The flat organization structures can work anywhere, sir. This works best when the environment is changing rapidly. For example, even if you take mobile phones are rapidly coming. So in that way, firms organized around small autonomous teams are much more nimble than larger hierarchies, like you said, the government. So this makes flatter organizations easier to respond to change. Suppose there's a rapid change, flatter organizations are easier to change. And then the main point of differentiation is innovation. Firms organized with a flat structure tend to be more innovative. If this is important strategically, then the company has to be flat. So if you are innovative, for example, a company
to
like
make supervision more effective.
More effective, exactly.
So See, to make the span of supervision more effective, is there any specific tools and techniques?
The tools and techniques basically are the manager has to be, first of all, he should not behave like a manager. He is more and more a team player.
Right.
For example, in all the flattest.
Team building.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
being
is
a team
required.
player.
Right.
And he is not very hierarchical. He is not very, let us take, authority oriented. He is part of the team.
So I would like to add here the leadership qualities also plays vital role here.
Definitely, definitely.
Because leadership, a leader should communicate, build the team,
Correct.
and have a interpersonal relationship leading to effective span of control or supervision. So here, what are the obstacles while doing so? What are the obstacles for a flat type of span of supervision?
Correct. So, like you have correctly said, there are a lot of obstacles also.
Right.
First of all, many people don't believe in democracy at workplace.
Okay.
Even people who adamantly oppose small amounts of central planning
Okay.
in government are perfectly happy to have strategy of everything coming from the top. So, upar se aayega, they will take care. Why should I bother?
Okay.
Even if you do believe in democracy, it can be hard to imagine work without hierarchy.
Okay.
The normal structure is so deeply ingrained and so widespread that it can be challenging to even to think of an alternative in the first place. So people are so used to the tall structure and so used to having bosses, suddenly you ask them to work by themselves, they might find it very difficult. And the fear of the unusual. For example, John Maynard Keyes has very famously said, worldly wisdom teaches that it is better to have a reputation to fail conventionally than to succeed unconventionally. Okay, unfortunately, this is still largely true even in big organizations, even today.
Okay.
It is hard to change organizational structures. Despite many positive examples in reality, it is very hard to change organizational structures. Even successful organizations that went in for a change, it was a triggering event.
Okay.
The triggering event could be a financial crisis.
Can we suggest the students of BCom, more particularly undergraduates, so what is the effective span of control? How many number of subordinates can be managed by a supervisor? After going through many research and but however there is no research consistent results also.
I would say by whatever experience I have got, I think 4 to 6 people should be good for a starting manager. Then once he gets understanding, once he gets more experience, maybe he can scale it up to 8. I think starting should be from 4 to 6 would be an ideal situation.
Okay, right. So today we discussed about span of control, which is important sub-component of organizing function. So for which I think our students of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University might have benefited, and for which I must be very thankful and grateful
Thank
to
you, Anant.
you, Dr. Anil Ramesh, for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
మా కార్యక్రమాలపై మీ సూచనలు సలహాలు తెలియచేయండి. మీ సూచనలు సలహాలు తెలియచేయవలసిన చిరునామా డైరెక్టర్ ఆడియో విజువల్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అండ్ రీసెర్చ్ సెంటర్, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ, ప్రొఫెసర్ జి రామరెడ్డి మార్గ్, రోడ్ నంబర్ 46, జూబ్లీ హిల్స్, హైదరాబాద్ 500033.